लेट मी आस्क मोहम्मद फरहान ये बताइए कि आज का जो बोंगाई गांव में हुआ था, जो मदरसा को डिमोलिशन हुआ था, ये लोकल्स ने वहां किया था, लेकिन ये एक मैजिस्ट्रेट के ऑर्डर के बाद हो रहा है। अगस्त 30 तारीख को एक मैजिस्ट्रेट ने ये ऑर्डर दिया था कि ये जो मदरसा है उसके लिए नेसेसरी डॉक्यूमेंट्स नहीं है, काफ़ी सारे मल्टीपर्पज़ एक्टिविटीज़ चल रहे हैं उनके प्रेमिसेस के अंदर। ऑर्डर में ये भी कहा अदालत ने कि जो भी मदरसा वहाँ था वो पीडब्ल्यूडी के रेगुलेशन के अनुसार नहीं बनाया था। तो अगर कोर्ट ने ये फैसला दी है तो फिर उसमें क्या आपत्ति होगी आपकी कि लोग आए या पुलिस आए या प्रशासन आए और उसको तोड़ें, लेकिन कोर्ट के ऑर्डर की वजह से ही किया ना उन्होंने।
जी मुझे देखिए, हेलो, मेरी आवाज आप तक आ रही सर? मेरी आवाज आप तक आ रही?
बोलिए।
मैं ये कह रहा हूं सर कि
अगर आवाज आ रही है आपकी,
अगर क्या नाम वो चीजें अनलीगल थी और अगर कोर्ट अनलीगल मानता है कि वो बिल्डिंग अनलीगल थी और उसके बाद क्या नाम है उस अनलीगल बिल्डिंग के तहत तोड़ा गया, उसका चाहे नक्शा नहीं पास था या उसके डॉक्यूमेंट्स नहीं थे, इस वजह से तोड़ा गया, तो हमें कोई आपत्ति नहीं। अब मैं दूसरी पॉइंट उठाना चाहता हूं। विश्व हिंदू परिषद के हिंदुस्तान के अंदर जितने भी कार्यालय हैं किसी के नक्शे नहीं पास हैं, सारे विदाउट क्या नाम है नक्शे के हैं। आप क्या ये बताइए कि उनके सारे कार्यालय तोड़ दिए जाएंगे? भारतीय जनता पार्टी के ऐसे बहुत से कार्यालय हैं जहां पर अवैध कब्जा करके बिल्डिंग बना रखा है, क्या वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपने सारे कार्यालयों को ध्वस्तीकरण के आदेश दे देगी? अपने गवर्नमेंट में नहीं दे पाएगी। कुल मिला के सर ये क्या नाम है एक टारगेट बनाया गया कि इस तरीके से मदरसा को तोड़ा गया कि उसके बिल्डिंग के ये पेपर नहीं है, वो पेपर नहीं, ये पेपर नहीं है। बहुत सी सरकारी बिल्डिंग्स हैं, सरकारी बिल्डिंग है जिनके पेपर्स नहीं है हिंदुस्तान के अंदर और उनके नक्शे पास नहीं है, गवर्नमेंट के मानक पर नहीं है, मगर फिर भी बिल्डिंग्स चल रही है ना सर। अगर क्या नाम है
लेकिन फरहान साहब ये बताइए, ये जो अंसारुल बांग्ला टीम है उनके मॉड्यूल्स जो हैं, ये जो 4 मदरसे हैं उनके अंदर से पकड़े गए हैं, तो ये कहना कि मतलब बीजेपी या आरएसएस या बाकी संस्थाओं के ऑफिसेस को आप तोड़ नहीं रहे हैं क्योंकि वो अवैध निर्माण है या बिल्डिंग बायलॉज के उल्लंघन कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उनका कोई टेरर ग्रुप से कोई ताल्लुकात नहीं है ना। ये अंसारुल बांग्ला टीम ABT जो है उनके डायरेक्ट लिंक्स पाए गए हैं इन मदरसों में, इसीलिए वो तोड़े गए हैं।
लीजिए सर, अगर आतंकवादी गतिविधियों में संलिप्ति थी और वो लोग मदरसे में रहे तो उन लोगों के खिलाफ कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए जिन लोगों ने मदरसों में उनको ठहराने का काम किया, या तो क्या नाम है उन लोगों को पकड़िए जिन लोगों ने उनसे ताल्लुक रखा। मदरसे से उससे क्या लेना देना? मदरसे से तो उसका कोई लेना देना नहीं। मदरसा तो एक संस्था है, संस्था में जो उनको रखा, जो लोग क्या नाम है उनको ले आए या उनसे जिनका संबंध था, उनको कानून के दायरे में आकर जो उनको होती है पनिशमेंट दी जानी चाहिए, मगर मदरसे को क्यों?
Let me ask Vikram Singh, it was pretty apparent way back 10 years ago when the Sachar Committee report came out that socially and educationally Muslim children were the most backward, and the reason for that was because they were not being sent to school. Now, there are many in the community who argue that madrasas fill a very important gap in the Muslim community because for whatever reason, social reasons, cultural reasons, they're not sent to school. Maybe even for economic reasons, they're not sent to school. They're instead sent to madrasas. The point, though, Vikram Singh, is that what we need to impart to young Muslim kids is science, physics, and chemistry, and geography, and history, and not necessarily religious education. Religious education, if at all, should be taught at home, and for those who are interested, should be taught in a seminary. But imparting education on a mass basis should be a scientific endeavor which only schools can impart.
You're absolutely right, Zaka. Sachar Commission highlighted the socio-economic conditions of the Muslim minority, and yes, there were actionable points that were taken, and the government has taken action on that. But yes, seminal and religious teachings are best done at home, at a mass scale, and mass teaching of religious. In fact, this was taken up not only in India but the world over. It is a cause of concern because often it has been alleged that there is a certain fountainhead of jihad, and in my own career and in my own experience I have seen that very often that those accused of terror, they go back to some madrasas or the other where they were holed up, they were concealed, or whether they were trained, indoctrinated, or radicalized. Therefore, every institution and every individual in the country is accountable to the rule of law. You very rightly mentioned that madrasas are affordable. Madrasas give affordable education. And yes, people who do not have the deep pockets to put their children into convent school and expensive schools, they have only one option. But the happy point is that this year, the NEET examination, there are any number of students from the madrasas who have come in the top 100 of the NEET examination. That is answering your question that yes, apart from religious teaching, you have to have computers, English, learning of sciences, and that is what the taste of the pudding lies in its eating, that if they have done so well in NEET, they could do well in civil services also. The focus has to be different, the priority has to be different, and once and for all, they should dissociate themselves from Rohingyas and illegal Bangladeshi migrants and also people with a dubious background.
Rahul Ishwar, the question that's being asked of the various governments, whether it's in Assam, whether it's in Uttar Pradesh, is why rake up this issue now? After all, we are seeing very contentious, title disputes, for example, or ownership disputes, whether it is Gyanvapi case, whether it is Mathura case. Every day there seems to be some kind of Hindu-Muslim issue that is plaguing this nation. Is this being deliberately done by the likes of BJP and other right-wing organizations because it suits them electorally? Or is this something that those are historical grievances that are now coming to the fore today, in this day and age?
Three quick points, Saka. One, Yogi government allocated rupees 479 crore for madrasas 2 years back. That was the largest of the biggest state budget till date, 479 crores for madrasas. Second, yes, spiritual education needs to be on one hand. Modern scientific education needs to be on the other hand. I believe our Prime Minister put it very rightly, saying that Holy Quran should be on one hand and laptop or computer should be on the other hand. Yes, there are some historical tensions. Nobody can deny that. So we need to put forward an equation of Hindu plus Muslim. Hindu-Muslim issue jab aata hai, hum Hindu plus Muslim equation. This is what we have to put forward. We should not go for a blind kind of categorically religion-denying secularism. We need to have a positive approach, a Gandhian approach or a Vivekananda's approach, whatever we want to call it, or a Mahatma Gandhi and Maulana approach of putting forward Hindu plus Muslim. And three, yes, there are hardline organizations in our community too. Nobody can deny that. There are people like Yedi Narasimhan, there are crazy crackpots like Satvi Prachis on every side. So that's the reason why all the responsible organizations, Sarsang Chalak has categorically said, see, we cannot take revenge on history. Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev has said, we cannot take revenge on history. At the same point of time, there are some sensitive spots like Kashi and Mathura, which we need to sit down as mature adults and deal with it and reach some kind of a consensus. Even the earlier archaeological survey person, K.K. Mohammed, who himself is from a Muslim community, has said there needs to be some kind of conciliation and communication regarding some sensitive places, not that every other place is going to be reclaimed per se. That's the reason why even RSS Sarsang Chalak is on record saying that we cannot dig beyond every religious structure to find another structure. Yes, there are hardline voices in every side that needs to be ignored, but moderate voices needs to be encouraged. And some issues we need to talk. We cannot brush it under the carpet forever. We need to talk, find consensus, bring forth harmony.
I'll conclude by saying that yes, there are historical questions. Whether it makes sense to bring them up now or whether those should be buried in the past, that's a matter of debate. But one thing is absolutely clear, that any institution in this country, whether it is schools, businesses, companies, if they all have to be registered with government and there is some form of regulation for them, then why not madrasas? I think that's a fair question to ask.